Well, welcome back. In this video, we're going to learn how to calculate percent error. The equation that you see here is the equation that we're going to use to calculate percent error. There are two terms in this equation that we need to look at. One is called the accepted value and the other the experiment value. Let's look at each of these real briefly. The accepted value is symbolized by AV and appears twice in this equation. The accepted value is what the answer actually is. The experiment value is what your experiment, or the data that you've collected, says the answer is. And the whole purpose of a percent error calculation then is to figure out how far is your prediction, your experiment value, away from what the accepted value actually is. Now let's look at a real example to illustrate how we actually do this calculation. Let's say you did an experiment where you collected some data for the position of a car at various times, and you created a graph that looks something like this. Now your teacher has given you the challenge of figuring out how much time would you predict it would take this particular car to travel 200 meters. Well, you look at your graph and you say, okay, 200 meters, that would correspond to about 80 seconds. So you predict that the experimental value is 80 seconds. In other words, your data predicts that the car should take about 80 seconds to travel 200 meters. Now, in this equation, the experiment value, then, the EV, would be the 80 seconds. But let's say you actually did this experiment and you find that it doesn't take just 80 seconds, it took 85 seconds. The 85 then would be the accepted value. That's what it actually took. So when we do a calculation and subtract the 85 minus the 80 in the numerator, we get 5 seconds, and divide that by the 85 and multiply by 100. The calculation that we will get is a 5.9% error. In other words, we would say that the prediction that you made is 5.9% away from the accepted value of 85 seconds. That's not too bad. Hope that helps.